Hey, my friend, and welcome to Aligned to Rise, the podcast for ambitious women who are done settling for feeling held back from their true potential and playing small. I'm your host, Alyssa Chavez, functional nutritionist, high-performance coach, and fellow visionary on a mission to help you reclaim your health and energy to get to the root cause of your gut and hormonal symptoms, clear the internal blocks holding you back, and rise into the powerful woman you were always meant to be. I started off as a woman struggling with endometriosis, struggling to find my own voice, and allowing fear to hold me back from who I really wanted to be. Now, I'm stepping into my own true power day after day by supporting myself from all areas of life. I feel great in my body physically. I've released those old beliefs that aren't serving me anymore, and I feel more connected to my true self and empowered than ever before. I've aligned myself in all areas of life in order to rise to my own true potential, and that, my friend, is what I want for you as well. Here inside Aligned to Rise, I help empower ambitious women to get into their own true alignment so they can rise above physical symptoms and internal blocks like negative emotions and limiting beliefs to finally be able to fully embody your purpose and deliver your message to the world. Through a fusion of functional nutrition and performance coaching, I help driven women to reclaim their vitality, trust your intuition, and align with the life you're meant to live. Energized, clear, and unapologetically powerful. If you're ready to step into alignment in all areas of your life, mind, body, and spirit, you're in the right place, my friend. Let's rise. Please keep in mind that the content of the show has been created for educational purposes only and should never be used as a replacement for medical diagnosis or treatment. Hey, my friend, and welcome to Aligned to Rise. So we are going to be talking about a topic that's super important today because I feel like so many of us, and I say us because I've definitely been in this boat myself, tend to really associate ourselves as being our diagnosis. So we hear things all the time like, I'm an endo warrior, and I have an autoimmune disease, I am Lyme disease, whatever it may be. And I started realizing that for a while there, it's all I talk about. In fact, I have to be perfectly honest, that's part of this whole rebrand that's been going on. So for those of you who are new to the podcast was formerly known as the Endo Belly Girl podcast for the first 90-something episodes. And now we have shifted into Aligned to Rise, just because I feel like it really allows all of us, myself included, to step into that next phase of healing. Because, my friend, I've been there too. For a while, I feel like my entire identity revolved around endometriosis, infertility, and just everything that felt broken in my body. And what I found along the way is that focus just made me miserable. So today, I first of all want to remind you that you are not your diagnosis. You are so much more than that. You're a whole human being with so much more to your story. And we're going to dig into that today. So I'm Alyssa Chavez, your host and your friendly neighborhood functional nutritionist. And I've also been diving into the world of coaching this year. So I am also NLP certified, which is neuro-linguistic programming. And along with that, have been learning so much about how much our language really matters. And that's what we're going to be talking about a lot today, just how to use language to help with your healing and how your thoughts even really impact your subconscious mind and how your subconscious mind impacts your healing. Is this getting a little more woo-woo? Absolutely. But stick with me on this journey, my friend, because I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with people who tell me, you know what, I've tried all the things, I've been to multiple practitioners, I've tried all the supplements and the diets and this and that, and I've just never been able to really get to the bottom of what's going on in my body, like my symptoms are still there. And you know what? Sometimes it's more than just the physical stuff. So we're going to take a look at that today, why this matters. So first of all, I want to mention how I'm just going to use myself as an example because I have endometriosis. I like to say nowadays I had endometriosis because truly it's such a small part of my life at this point in time with how far that I've come that yes, I have been diagnosed with endometriosis. However, I truly don't feel like it's an issue in my life right now, which is awesome. I certainly didn't start there. But I do find that when you start to overly identify with a diagnosis, like it's just your identity, it's who you are, it's all you talk about, that it's easy to start living in that sense of limitation. Now, before you argue with this, I know that you may feel some limitations, right? Maybe you have physical pain, maybe you struggle with fatigue, maybe you struggle with digestive issues, bloating. You may actually have the reality of limitations look at you in the face. Trust me, I get that. I've been there. I've been in that space of absolutely debilitating pain. I have been in that space of debilitating fatigue where you just feel like you can't put another foot in front of the other. 100%, my friend, I have been there and I understand. However, I am also a big believer that your brain creates your reality. I really, truly am a big believer in this, and I find that the older I get, the more I'm starting to understand this. So really, truly, if the narrative is I'm broken, guess what your brain is going to start to look for? What is your brain going to be searching for? Evidence of being broken, evidence of something being wrong. It's going to start to look for that and bring it more into the forefront of your mind. It's no different, my friend. Okay, it's maybe a little bit different, but it's the same idea as, say, when you're shopping for a new car. I remember back in my 20s, I've shared this story fairly recently, but in my 20s, I went shopping for a Mini Cooper. That was my dream car when I was in high school. Absolutely loved Mini Coopers. And when I was in my 20s, I had an opportunity to buy one. And I remember during the time when I was shopping for my Mini Cooper, was so excited about it. I started seeing them everywhere because it was on my mind. I was thinking about it and I started seeing Mini Coopers everywhere. They were everywhere that I looked. Whereas before, I feel like I hadn't really seen them very often. They weren't a terribly common car. But you know what? The same thing can absolutely happen with your physical health. If you're spending all of your time and energy thinking about the things that are going wrong, noticing the symptoms that are coming up in your body, and really focusing your energy on that, your brain is going to actually start to look for more evidence of that. So, what if we start to shift that a little bit? What if you were to start to shift your focus to what's possible, to what you could feel like, what you want to feel like? And we're going to circle back to this a little bit later. So stay with me because this is going to be a big piece of the actionable part of this episode today. But truly, your mind and your body begin to respond differently when your focus shifts, right? And we've talked before on the podcast about how your mindset can impact your nervous system, right? How stress can impact your pain. We've talked about some of this stuff on the podcast before, but just even the whole idea that your mindset, your beliefs, the things that you notice, the things that you're thinking about the most, because at the end of the day, we have many thousands, if not millions of thoughts every day. I know there's an actual number for this and I can't remember it off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure it's in like the tens of thousands of thoughts that you have every single day. And most of them are on repeat. Many of the thoughts that we have are the same ones that we had yesterday and the day before and the day before and the day before. So if we really want to start to make shifts in the way that we feel, and by the way that we feel, I'm talking mind, body, spirit, all of the parts, what we really want to do as human beings is to start to change those thoughts, start to break up the patterns that we're used to living in all throughout your day so that we can start to really see some major shifts. And I've seen so much of this happen in my own body, in my own life. And I have even some new updates on that I'm going to share with you, but not on this episode because that's going to be a whole episode in and of itself. So stay tuned for that. But I want to talk about for a second the fact that, my friend, you are so much more than your diagnosis. And I'm talking whether you have endometriosis, you're struggling with infertility, you have an autoimmune disease, you have a virus like Lyme disease, you have anything, literally anything going on in your body. You have PCOS, whatever it is. I think one important shift in that mindset is, first of all, just understanding that you are so much more than that. Yes, I'm an endo warrior, but as I've mentioned before, that's a very small part of my life, right? I am also a wife. I'm a daughter. I'm a sister, right? I am a teacher. I am a creator. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a leader. I do so many things in my life. I like to think that I am loving and kind and strong and resilient and funny. I feel like my husband might debate on that a little bit. Funny maybe is personal taste. I know that I'm passionate. I'm loyal. There's so many qualities to me, and I know the same is true for you as well. So if you have a moment, maybe even pause this episode. If you have a, paper and pen you can grab, or your phone where you have a note app in there, maybe even take a second to pause this episode and take a moment to journal on that. What am I? Who am I beyond my diagnosis? What roles do I play in my life? Thinking about your relationships, your career, right? The other people you interact with, the qualities of you as a human being that are important to you and that you, kind of the things that you live by. What are those things? So take a second, even if you're driving or you're walking, you aren't necessarily in a place to write this down, maybe even pause and just take 2 minutes to think through that. What are you? Who are you beyond your diagnosis? What else would you add to that list? All right, I'm going to give you a second to pause. I'm actually just going to keep talking because if you pause, then you can just press play again and catch up with me. But hopefully you're able to do that little exercise and get yourself kind of to that next step. So I wanted to share a little bit of my personal journey. So like I said, definitely went through a period of time when I was just super hyper focused on endometriosis, my infertility journey, where I really feel like it just consumed everything. I was feeling hopeless. I was feeling broken. I was going through bouts of depression. And I did find, and some of this work I've even started more recently in my life, but it's a shift that's been starting to happen for several years now, where I really have started to shift more attention to other parts of my life. It comes back to this whole idea of you're going to attract what you focus on the most. And realistically, I do understand how when, for example, you're in a lot of pain, sometimes it can be challenging to just focus on trying to feel good in your body, right? It can be a challenge to bring that to mind when you feel like at this present moment, that's really not going well. Right? It's been like that for me with even things like finances. When I've been in periods in my life when finances are really tight and feel incredibly stressful, it's been really challenging for me to focus on just making more money and attracting more money into my world. It can be a little challenging to make that big of a shift. So that's where, my friend, one thing that I recommend is to start to shift your focus to other parts of your life, because you're more than your health. You're more than your physical body. What if you start to focus more energy on something that you're building? Maybe you're like me and you're building a business. Maybe you are an artist and you're creating something. Maybe you love to read and you're really working your way through a whole series or something. Maybe you like to write. Maybe you're writing a book or you write poetry or whatever it is. It can be career related. It can be related to relationships that you have. It can be related to some sort of creative outlet, really anything else at all in your life that you can focus your energy and attention on. Because I found for myself that was incredibly helpful. And it doesn't have to be huge amounts because, again, I'm going to circle back to that point in my life when I was in intense pain frequently. I would definitely have to give myself grace with that sometimes. There were days when I would be really focused on what I was doing At the time, it was studying all of the nutrition stuff that I now share. I had started off my journey going to the Nutritional Therapy Association, becoming a nutritional therapy practitioner, and that has led me into my journey of being a functional nutritionist. And so before I had even started my business and the podcast and all of these things where I get to help so many people, before that, I had started just by focusing my energy on studying. I wanted to learn all the things. I love to learn. Putting me in front of some books and making me study actually, for me, makes me really happy. Assuming it's something I'm interested in. If you're making me study, I don't know, math or something, I might be less intrigued. But that's just my personal interests. You're going to have your own things in life. But is there some area of life where you can focus on more? And, give yourself grace if you need to take rest from that too. Because I know if you're thinking in the back of your mind, like, that sounds great, Alyssa, but sometimes when I'm really in a lot of pain or I'm really struggling with fatigue, it's really hard to focus on anything else. I get it. And it's totally okay to give yourself rest on those days. Please do. But then on the days when you are feeling really good, allow yourself the space to focus on other things and give yourself that space to do something else and focus your energy somewhere else where maybe there's other areas of your life that you can start to really improve and enjoy and all the things, right? And it might be starting small. That's okay. All right, my friend. Now here's the other piece that I'd like to focus on today. And this is a tool that I've been using in my practice with my clients. It's a tool that I've been using in my own life as well that I really wanted to share with you because it's super, super helpful along your journey. So one of the most common, I don't even want to use the word mistake, but just pattern that we tend to follow as human beings is that we tend to focus a lot on what we don't want, right? I don't want to feel bloated. I don't want to have this pain anymore. I really want this to go away. But here's the thing. Your brain does not understand that. Your brain does not understand the negatives. So let me give you an example of this. If I tell you right now, don't think about a purple elephant. Don't think about it. What just happened? Did you have an image of a purple elephant come to mind? Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say to you, my friend. So if you say, for example, I don't want to be bloated, your body's not going to, your mind is not going to understand the difference. It's just going to see bloated. And guess what? We end up bringing that more into our awareness and into our life. So what I want you to think of is, what do I want instead of that? So maybe instead of I don't want to feel bloated, you say something like, I want to feel light and comfortable in my body. I want to be able to wear my favorite jeans with ease. And just think, avoid words like don't or no, right? Now, this is an exercise I've been giving a few of my clients lately and something I've actually been practicing for myself in certain areas of my life as well. I want you to grab a journal. It doesn't have to be right now, this moment, but this is something you can work on maybe over the next couple of days or the next week. I want you to either have a journal that you can keep nearby all the time. Maybe you throw it in your purse or something. Or if you're more loving the digital stuff, you can totally do this on your phone or on a tablet as well. Just create a note. And I want you just to notice the thoughts that are coming up in regards to what's happening in your physical body. Right? If you're having the thought, I'm so tired of being in pain. You're having the thought, I don't want to be bloated. You're having the thought, I don't want to deal with this autoimmune disease anymore. Whatever that thought is, like I said, so many of the thoughts that we have are repetitive. You might notice the same ones over and over and over again popping up for yourself. Now, the goal here is not to berate yourself and beat yourself up for having these negative thoughts. We all do. But I want you to purposefully, even if you do this for a day or maybe 2 days, even better if you can do this for a week, notice and actually write down those negative thoughts that happen in your mind. And then right underneath that, write out what you want instead. So if the thought was, I'm so tired of being in pain, Maybe you write, what do I want instead? I feel strong and pain-free in my body. Now, I know this might sound overly simplistic to you, especially if you've been in pain or discomfort or whatever's going on with your physical body for a long time. Trust me, I get it. That this is why I'm the best person to talk to you about this, because I have actually been there. This is not something that is just hypothetical for me. I have actually been in that intense pain quite a bit. Right? So I do understand, but I also understand, I'm starting to understand more and more how the brain actually works and how it connects with your physical body. So you know what? At the end of the day, what have you got to lose? It's completely free to do this exercise. It's a great way to start to shift some of those beliefs and thought patterns and start to just make some changes and see what happens. Because over time, this can start to retrain your brain to expect that positive outcome and to look for that, to look for the times when you're feeling good in your body, to feel the times when you are pain-free and light and comfortable and all of the things in your body. And you know what? I want to even rewind a little bit because I'm thinking back to that example I used and I realized I kind of made a little boo-boo on that because I said feel strong and pain-free in my body, but pain-free kind of is a negative now that I think about it. We're going to reword that one a little bit, so stick with me. Maybe it's something like I feel strong and vibrant in my body. I feel loose and energetic in my body, right? Just shifting so it's really focusing on what you want and not what you don't want. Is this making sense? Really, truly, these tools are more powerful than you think. So, all right, my friend, just a kind of a quick recap of everything that we've talked about today. Number one, you are so much more than your diagnosis. Number two, your body is not your enemy. Your body is your ally, right? Your body wants to heal. Your body wants to feel good. The symptoms that you're experiencing is simply your body sending you forms of communication, letting you know what's going on. But you can shift that slowly but surely. And what you focus on expands. What you focus on, you will see more of. Right? We've all experienced this at some point in your life. What is a time that you've really focused on something and you start to see it everywhere? When you've been shopping for a car, maybe there's a certain pair of shoes that all of a sudden that you see somebody wearing and you really love, and the next thing you know, everybody's wearing those shoes. Anything like that you feel that you're really focusing your energy on, and all of a sudden you start to notice a whole lot of that. So try those exercises that I mentioned today, right? Actually give them a shot and see what happens, right? You never know how things might shift and change. All right, my friend, I hope this was helpful for you, and I hope you have the most wonderful day, and I can't wait to talk to you again next week. Much love to you, my friend. Thank you so much for tuning in to Aligned to Rise. I'm beyond grateful that you chose to spend this time with me because every step you take toward alignment truly matters. If today's episode sparked something in you, don't forget to grab your free copy of the Aligned Morning Formula. It's your step-by-step guide to setting up your day for clarity, energy, and success in every area of your life. You can find the link in the show notes, or you can head over to www.alignedtorise.com/morning, MORNING, to download it now. And if you loved this episode, please be sure to subscribe, leave a review, or share it with a fellow high-achieving woman who's ready to rise right alongside you. Here's your reminder. You're not here to play small. You're here to feel vibrant, powerful, and completely aligned with your purpose. Keep going. The world needs what you're here to create. I'll see you next time, my friend.